had some free time on my hands today, so I figured why not film a review? Welcome to Rose Squad Reviews. My name is Melanie, and today we're going to be talking about an anime that mixes both fantasy and strategy, which are two things that make me happy. So I'm excited to talk about it. It's from a couple seasons back. It's called Alderamin on the Sky. So you have this band of teenagers, and their country is at war, of course. So anyway, they're trying to enlist in the army, and one of them doesn't really want to, but he's like, you know what, I'm gonna come with you guys, and then because I'm pretty good, and I'm gonna beat out all the other competitions so that you guys can get in, and then I'm just gonna drop out. So that's his plan. Except his plan does not go to plan because their ship gets shipwrecked and they land in enemy territory with the crown princess, and they have to get everybody back safe to the country all in one piece. And you kind of get to see a little bit of him in action and being all cool and snazzy and stuff. And then they're like, thanks, for saving the crown princess. We really appreciated that. We're gonna reward you and kind of make you a social icon by putting you into this, program to go into the army. And that was the opposite of what he wanted. Yeah, so things don't turn out very well for Ikta, which is the main character. He kind of reminded me of Shikamaru from Naruto, where you have this, really great, powerful intellect, but then just kind of not a whole lot of motivation to use that. Just meh, do I have to? I'd rather just take a nap. On the other hand, he also is kind of like Jiraiya, also from Naruto. He has sort of that pervy aspect to him, which I don't really think added a whole lot to the show, and it kind of frustrates me, and I think it brings the show down. But I'll talk about that more later. Some of the other characters in, the group, they all have brightly colored hair. This is so anime. Ugh. Except for Ikta, and his hair is black, but it's you can tell obviously who these people are because it's just red, yellow, green. So while extremely skilled at strategy and war tactics, Ikta is generally apathetic and lazy about life, especially anything to do with the military. His real passion lies in science, actually, and he kind of wants to be a scientist and an inventor. And I'll touch on this a little bit now and a little bit later, but their world is just kind of getting on to the edge of sort of the Industrial Revolution, where these new technologies are coming. They're discovering how to do blimps and gunpowder and a bunch of other stuff, and so he's just really excited about that aspect of the world. I liked Ikta as a character, other than his little thing about girls and just not really treating them very nice at all times. So that's really frustrating, but his character itself has many layers to it, and I really appreciated that depth of character. The other main character is a girl named Yatoi Shino Iksem. She is Ikta's closest friend and also a high member of the nobility, so she's pretty important. And she kind of reminded me of Erza from Fairy Tail. I mean, she's got the red hair, she's pretty strong, and I'm gonna punch you in the face. She only has 2 swords, but hey. Before I move on, I'm not going to touch on some of the other characters, but as a whole, the cast was pretty varied, and I felt like we did get some good character development throughout the series. As far as pacing, it takes a little while for the action in Alderamin to get started, but once it gets the ball rolling, it keeps rolling and it keeps your interest. With Ikta's vast military knowledge and just tactical skills, he and his friends are able to come out victorious most of the time, which is, but they do have some struggles, and there are some things that he just can't win. And something that I thought was really cool throughout the course of the show, Alderamin takes on topics such as the ethics of war and kind of the dynamics of religion versus science, because like I mentioned, they're kind of going through the cusp of an industrial revolution sort of a thing. And then there's also this religion, that has a creation myth, and that the whole country's kind of involved in, and so they're kind of looking at, you know, they have like this side of the story and this side of the story, and then just kind of like which one's right, how did these things come to happen, which is obviously something that's very prevalent in our day and age. So it was interesting to see their take on that. I thought that the show ended in a good place given the amount of story that they had to get through, and that they, you know, with all the information given, they're just like, we're going to stop it here, and it's not going to be an awkward chunk, and it, you know, fits well. And while the main goal of the story is far from over, the viewer is given a little bit of a glimpse into, you know, what might happen in the future. Because the whole thing is kind of like, this is the story of this Grand General and how he came to be, which isn't spoilers because they tell you that. So it's like you kind of know that he's going to, you know, rise to this position of power and affluence and be really successful and help his country win the war. I have a parakeet, and so he's just going to, okay. This probably isn't going to stop anytime soon, so we're just going to power through, and you get like a little bit of parrot music in the background. So I apologize, but also you're welcome. Background music, guys. This is my life. A couple things to watch for. I mentioned some of this earlier. Ikta's sort of inappropriate behavior kind of taints some of the better aspects of the show, I felt like. And some of the characters' casual clothes are a little bit revealing. So just something that I'm just like, I wouldn't want to wear that. I don't know why you're wearing that, and just why. But the animation for this show is consistent and easy to watch. It's generally filmed with like bright colors, although some of the darker scenes, like at nighttime, kind of dark, tend to be a little bit muted. The one thing that bothered me about colors was how all the main characters have like different colored hair, and I'm just kind of like, I mean, I guess it helps tell people apart, but I'm just kind of like, stereotypes, guys? Do we need to reinforce this? Can't we have some originality? Thanks. I did really like the opening theme. It was catchy, but I felt like it also showcased, you know, different elements of the show itself. We're closing up here, so I'm just going to add in a couple final thoughts and just little small detail things. So Alderamin on the Sky is based off of a light novel series. There's also a manga adaptation. And last time I checked, the series should be available to watch on Crunchyroll. You can watch it for free. Of course, there's commercials and jazz, but what in life doesn't have commercials? There are no fillers in the show. There's about 13 episodes for the entirety of the show. It's only one season as of yet, and I don't really see them going on for like a second season, although they could. They have that potential. I don't know how well the show was received here in the U.S. I guess that doesn't really make a whole lot of a difference, but I'm sure it helps. Overall, I enjoyed this show. There are a couple things that I would really like to change, and I wish that those things weren't there, because I really feel like they distract from the better aspects of the show, like their plot and the character development, and then just also their interesting take on different kind of views and topics, which is great when you can really integrate that into, like, you have your story, but then you also have something else, and it just kind of like moves it up a whole other level. So if this show caught your interest, I'd recommend checking it out with a couple of those little mentioning detail things. Just be like, yeah, there's that one thing, unfortunately. But I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you next time.